this video, I would like to talk with you about a webinar sales funnel. So how exactly can you sell your webinar? So what I want to do with you, first of all, is I want to talk with you about the general structure. So the general structure is all about attract, engage, and then afterwards sell. And then afterwards, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process of how to set up such a sales funnel. Now, the first step is, again, attracting. So let's draw one of these little boxes right here, and let's call this one attract. So attracting is all about attention. We already said attention is the key to selling your product. So for instance, what this could be is, it could, for instance, be, let's say, social media. It could also be, what could it be? It could also be maybe ads. It could also perhaps be some kind of phone call, let's say. Let's make this a little bit smaller, maybe calls. What else could it be? It could maybe also be maybe email list. So let's add that here as well. So let's say we also have email list. All right, so we got that. Email list, and perhaps let's add one more. It could also be partners. All right, so let's add partners. So all of these are about attraction. We attract people through all of these channels. We say, all right, we want attention, we want attention, we want attention, and then at a certain point, we are actually gonna get the attention. So let's actually take this one right here and say, all right, this stands now for attention. So we get attention from these people right here. We get attention from our partners. We get attention from this emailing list, because again, we are sending out emails, let's say on a daily basis, and we get people to, for instance, look on our sales page or whatever. So we get, of course, also some traffic from here. So let's bring this a little bit to the left. All right, and then we also, of course, get traffic via the calls. And of course, we also get traffic via social media. So let's add that one as well. We get traffic via social media. And we get traffic via ads. Now, these are the channels that we use in order to drive traffic to something. But what exactly are we driving traffic to? Now, we are driving traffic to not more than a webinar opt-in. So what we want to do is we want to set up a webinar opt-in form, which basically is a form where people can write their name, their email address, and so on. So the second part is, again, engage. So we want to engage people with something. So this one is now engage. And we can, for instance, engage people through a webinar. So all of this over here leads to this. All this attracting leads to only one thing, and that is a webinar opt-in. All right, webinar opt-in. So this could be some kind of squeeze page where people can sign up, where they can give their email address, and then afterwards something happens, and that is they receive a thank you message. So until now, we didn't start the webinar yet. So until now, they only get one thing, which is just a thank you message. So let's bring this a little bit to the top right here. All right, and now they get a thank you message. All right, so let's change the size here a little bit. I know why it does this. All right, let's do it again. There we go. Okay, let's call this one thank you page. So they opt into the webinar, they get a thank you page, and then as soon as the webinar starts, or before the webinar starts, there is something happening. And this is what is happening. So before the webinar starts, we send them a message. We send them a message that the webinar is gonna start soon. So let's bring this over here, and let's actually change the position here a little bit. So after, let's say, a couple of days before the webinar starts, we send them a text message 15 minutes before the before the actual webinar starts. So let's add this one, text message 15 minutes before webinar starts. All right, so now we added this as well. So before now the webinar starts, 50 minutes before that, they're going to receive a text message. Now, they received the text message because they gave their phone number right here at the webinar opt-in. Now, also what we want to do is we want to send out email reminders. So the email reminders can also, of course, come from this webinar opt-in because we received an email address in the webinar opt-in form. So let's actually add this as well. All right. So let's call this one right here email reminder. And we can, for instance, let's say send out 3 or 4 email reminders before the actual webinar starts. Email reminder. And then, of course, after that happens, we have the actual webinar. So let's actually just draw a couple of lines right here. So after this happened, the actual webinar starts. All right, so now we are here, and let's add one more. Again, this is quite a lengthy process, but I just want you to see how I'm doing this as well. So let's bring another line over here. And it's basically the same thing. After this, what happens is just simply the webinar starts. So let's do this for a second. Let's connect these two right here. Let's bring this over here a little bit. All right, there we go. And at this point then right here, the webinar starts. So after all of this happened, the webinar starts. So this person right now got reminders. This person right now received email reminders, so basically reminders via the phone and reminders via email. And then we have the webinar right here. So all of that leads to the webinar. So let's connect that quickly. And then we are done with this step. But again, we are trying to sell something. The webinar is only a tool for us to sell something. And in that webinar then, we say, all right, at the end, for instance, this is what I want to sell to you. So we give this webinar, it's maybe completely for free. And then at the end of the webinar, we have our sale. So now let's create this little part right here, which will then lead to the sale. All right, let's bring this up a little bit. There we go. And after that webinar, or inside the webinar, you say, all right, and here is the link to this product. And then we have another sales page that comes up here. And this is now all about selling. This is now the sales process, sell. We can also, of course, let's actually rename this. We can name this one right here. We can name this one TOTF, the top of the funnel. Then right here, engage. Let's bring this to the middle. This one is then called the middle of the funnel, so the MOTF. And then to the right, we have the actual sales part. And this is then, of course, the BOTF, which is then the bottom of the funnel. So BOTF. And we now add another sales page right here. Sales page. And then after we added that sales page, someone can actually purchase. So what is there at the end is just simply perhaps another thank you page. So we can add one more right here. We can add some kind of thank you page. And then if you want, you can add another simple sales funnel. If you want, you can just say, all right, there is another upsell or something like that. But I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just going to say, all right, we have right here then the actual purchase, which results in a thank you page. and then afterwards you're done. So this is basically how you can, through a webinar, promote a certain product. Let's actually have a look at this. So we have, first of all, the attracting part, so the TOTF, which is, just simply the top of the sales funnel. So we got this email list, we got partners, we got calls, we got social media, we got ads, and then in between we got engage, so the MOTF. We have a webinar opt-in page. From that webinar opt-in page, we have a thank you page when people opt in. And before the webinar starts, 50 minutes before that, they receive a message via the phone and they receive email reminders. Now, both of that comes together at a certain point. We have a webinar. In that webinar, we present the product. Afterwards, then, we basically send people to a sales page. And on the sales page, people can purchase. And then, of course, they'll be led to the thank you page. Now, of course, afterwards, then you can add a simple another simple sales funnel. So for instance, saying, all right, we have order confirmation, then download page, then another sales page, another thank you page. So basically saying, all right, we have an upsell product, which is basically right here. Or you could just simply say, all right, this is where my sales funnel ends and I don't want to have any kind of upsell. So basically this is the TOTF, this is the MOTF, and this is the BOTF. If you want to download this file, just simply head over to the left top corner. I have everything in there. If you want to, just use this template, you can at any given time. So I would personally recommend you to use this because, again, webinars are highly effective because you're talking to people, you're engaging them. And if you think that one of these parts is redundant and it doesn't work for you, then exchange it. Now, there is no fixed formula. Every sales process is different, but this one worked very, very well for me. So, all right, that was it now here for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we are going to see each other in the next one.